Good afternoon from Pacific Standard Time Zone. I'm going to explain a couple of things about mastering secure identity and access management, which is first 30% of the Azure Security technologies, and identity is the new perimeter, as we have already covered a couple of topics yesterday also, so it's going to be really good a review for all of you, and welcome to episode 3. So there are a couple of agendas we have set. So the module first will describe about identity foundation. It will be from slide 3 to 7. Module second will be authentication mastery. It's going to be from 8 to 18. So module 3, it's going to be hybrid identity architecture. So it's going to be from slide 19 to 28. And the module 4, it's going to be access governance and control. Module 5, it's going to be advanced threat protection, and we will also have a time for Q&A plus tactical tech study tips. So principle of least privilege, so this will be our first topic. So grant only minimum access as required. Every AZ-500 role or permission questions ties to principle of least privilege. So least privilege is something like if we are human resource, we don't need access of security administrator or something. So offer the access that are required to complete the job only. So exam strategies like you gotta study and that will be it. So the question of this certification will be about mostly about this principle of least privilege and how to secure Azure through different strategy. So in this slide, so it's about identity is the new control panel. So in this slide, it's about legacy model. So in the legacy model, it's about firewall and network boundaries, which is like one of the model. There will be modern model, and in the modern model, it's about identity is the perimeter. So it's about what you have, who you are, and that will be it. And another model will be zero trust, never trust, always verify, and assume breach. So always assume there is something breakable and trust nobody, just trust the proof that are submitted for verification. Moving on to next slide, we have Azure AD tenant, your security boundaries. So this Azure AD tenant is dedicated, isolated instance of Azure AD. So analog, it's going to be separate apartment in a secure building. So Azure AD tenant will be like a secure apartment. So it will be in the block of the system. For example, if you have the system, everything like for example, take it as if you have a PowerPoint or if you have a Microsoft Word, and if you have a Outlook and you are open to a Google Chrome browser, so Microsoft Outlook might have different account and everything different despite on the same browser. So that might be Azure AD tenant. So take it something like that. So the content in a general context and in very normal example, and the content will be user, group, app, and device. Exam insights is know how to create versus reuse. So we need to just to know how to create and configure the Azure AD tenant, and that will be it. So moving on to next slide, we have user and group, the access backbone. So in this slide, it's about user, which is member and native versus guest, external B2B. So there are two kind of user. It's going to be native, and there will be a guest user in when we fragment the user in Azure tenant. So that will be the first. Second will be the group. So there will be security group versus Microsoft 365 group. We need to understand the access backbone, as we have mentioned, and membership will be assigned manually versus dynamic rule based. So manual is something like we have to go and assign it. Dynamically is like if you work in human resource, so there might be certain rules in human resource and you will be assigned on the basis of rule that you work in human resource, and inside the human resource you might have certain department, so we can fragment that department too. So it's really good. Moving forward to next slide, it will be enterprise app and service principle. So what's enterprise app and service principle? So enterprise app is the blueprint for of an app. So service principle, talking about service principle, it's about identity of that app in your tenant. So delegated, it's going to be user context. Application, it's going to be app only access. So exam tips, it's going to be understand the permission model. So we have to understand what is it and just understand the permission model. That will be more than enough. So take it easy on this thing, because it's all about user identity and management. So there will be authentication versus authorization. So authentication is about who you are. So who you are, for example, you are a human, that's fine. So after human, what's your name, what's your background, what kind of thumb you have, who you are. So it's technically who you are. And authorization is what can you do. So authorization is having a right authorization. As a finance officer, I cannot go and do the job of IT guy, because my policies and my governance and compliance policy of that company will set me on that specific tax only. So moving on to the next slide. So it's about passport-less authentication. This one is like we are like, it might be single sign-on or anything. So why passport fail? So the first topic we will be talking about is why do passport fail. So the passport fail because of phishing, reuse, and weak credentials. For example, if you use this several platform, and if you keep the same passport, it might be compromised, and the weak credentials might be another reason, and phishing might be another reason. So window hello, FIDO2 key authenticator app. So these are like the tools that will help you to solidify your passport, and this is very required to operate. So you need to go through all of this, and the exam ticks will be passport-less equals to phishing resistance. So just learn a couple of things and you'll be good to go for exam. So I just want you to go through the Microsoft Lawn, and I'm pretty sure you'll be able to navigate everything, and it's really easy. Moving on, I'm going to explain a lot of things which will help you too. So multi-factor authentication. So this is like MFA. So factors, no means passport, have means phone or key, and R means biometric. So it's like way of securing your environment by using double layer of protection. So first protection will be passport, and second might be a phone or key, or might be some kind of biometrics, which is completely fine. Azure AD, MFA, so multi-factor authentication is built in Zin. Exam tips will be multi-factor authentication is foundation. So just learn a couple of things. So the concept is like this is something we are creating it. Double layer of security. For example, this is very common these days. Even if you have Microsoft account, even if you have Facebook, if you so MFA is something very common. So even in Meta platform like Facebook and everything, we have an option to do like to go with MFA to secure your environment. Even in Gmail, even in everything there is MFA integrated these days. Moving on to next slide, it's about enforcing multiple factor authentication. So security default, one-click enable, conditional access, general control, and pre-use MFA. So what we need to know is like one-click enable, or there is, for example, if you are trying to sign in, couple of times, even if you log in into your Gmail and from the new device, it will say go and tick on your mobile app Gmail. So those are one-click enable. Conditional access is if you are using certain things at certain geographic location or certain things, it will be something like that. And pre-user MFA is also of similar kind. Moving on to the next slide, we have conditional access policy engine. So if user attempts access, then apply control, zero trust in access action. So you have to be very efficient about implementing zero trust. So you are assuming breach. If user is attempting to access your environment, then apply control. So what kind of control? First, there is biometrics, that's fine. Then there is another layer. Just keep on going, even if you know everything is correct. So don't leave users with 80% of verification and you think like he's the user. So don't assume it. So make it 100%. So it's something like that. It's really easy. So just take a concept of how you log in to normal platforms and relate this to those things. It will be way too easy. So conditional access building blocks assignments. So who, user or group? So are you user or group? And what is like cloud app? So this time it's going to be cloud app. Conditions, it might be device, it might be location, it might be client app, it might be sign-in recs. So it's really good. Moving on to next slide, it's building block access control. So block or grant access will be first. Second will be grant option, require multi-factor authentication, compliant device, and app protection. So how your control is access, or how your blocks, like for example, consider Facebook as your login blocks. So to log in the Facebook, I can set the rule. If you turn on the multi-factor authentication, how? Through the SMS, through the authenticator app, or through different known device. So this thing is like something like that. It's very simple. Moving on to next slide, it will be conditional access scenario, block legacy authentication. So legacy protocol bypass multi-factor authentication. Policy, it's going to be all user, all app, block legacy client app. So tips will be textbook for conditional access use case. So just go through this conditional access topic for the exam. So conditional access scenario will be secure admin access. The first one will be admin must use compliant device. Policy, it's going to be directory roles plus Azure management. because to require compliant device. Conditional access scenario, high risk sign in. So high risk equals to potential compromise. If there is very high risk, then there will be certain compromise. We assume that thing. So the policy, it's going to be for all user, all app require passport change or any kind of thing. So even in the Gmail also, like if you are login, you will get a notification if your password is changed or something. So it might be high risk if you haven't changed the password. So it's all about the scenario, it's all about creating the controls, it's about who, what, and it's about conditional access. So from the name also we know what is it. So this slide will be about break class account emergency access. So it's like 2x4 cloud only account excluded from conditional access or multi-factor authentication policy, and monitor for user alerts, and to go for the exam, know why they exist. So why break class account emergency access is required. In normal way, I will tell that in case of emergency, so those kind of access is used to secure the system and to protect the system and to create availability of the system. So hybrid identity and breach on premises and cloud. So challenge user exists in both Azure AD and AD. So the solution will be sync identities for seamless access, and goal is one identity everywhere. It's kind of single sign-on SSO. So it's more about using federated identity management or FIM. In the sense, we have to be very clever, because one identity can be used everywhere, and solution is about sync identities for seamless access. So we are trying to use breeze on, means like premises and cloud. You have to understand hybrid identity. So we are using two kind of identity. So first on the prem, what is available on the premises, and next one might be a cloud. So it's like very easy to get the concept. You don't have to stick towards my example, you don't have to stick towards textbook example. You can generalize your own example for those kind of thing, and it's going to be all right. The password has sync PHS. So first one will be sync password hashes to Azure AD. Pros will be simple, enable advanced featured, and cons will be 2-minute delay on password change. So it's all right, because it's about hashes to Azure AD. So that's one form of cyber security practice we do on daily basis. So this the profit will be like simple, enable advanced features, so it is really good, and cons is like it will just be 2-minute delay on password change, which is fine if you are getting a really good security out of it. Sometimes we have to be very time sensitive. In those cases, there are other options available too. Moving on to the next slide, it's about pass-through authentication, PTA. So cloud requests very validated by on-parameter agent. Pros will be enforce the AD policies instantly. Cons would be require agents plus connectivity. So that's a kind of thing, pass-through authentication. So you need a validation from on-premises agent. Pros enforce Azure AD policies instantly. Cons is like you need agent plus connectivity, so it might take a time, or the process might be longer. So, but it's profitable. It's going to be fine. You had to go through this. The Federation ADFS, delegate authentication to on-prem federation service. The profit or pros will be smart card or third-party MFA. It will allow a full control. Cons will be it's complex, SPOFX, and high overhead. So talking about from the hacker insight, it will be ADFS, outage, kills cloud access. So be careful from the hacker perspective. Moving forward, it's seamless SSO, which is single sign-on, invisible security, so silent authentication on domain joined device, use Kerberos object in AD, work with PHS and PTA and non-federation. Another one will be Entra Connect Sync Engine, the sync on-prem AD to Azure AD, configure PHS, PTA or federation, tagging mode for DR. Hacker inside will be misconfiguration, will create a psychos on it. Passport write back. So the passport write back will be cloud passport change written back to on-prem AD, enable SSPR, security tip write back closes loop. Security hybrid awareness, so flow is on-prem Azure AD, Entra connects Azure AD. So on-premises AD will be connected, Entra connect Azure AD. Authentication method might be PHS, PTA or federation. And that will be it because it's hybrid, so you are going to use the premises and the cloud. So from hybrid is like combination of cloud and on-premises. Entra Connect Health, so Microsoft Entra Connect ADFS and domain control will be fast. Provide alerts, it will be giving you alerts and performance and uses analytics. Monitor before attackers too. So we have to keep on monitoring it, because if we don't monitor, we will never know when it is compromised. So just go from that way. So Entra Cloud Sync, so this one is about lightweight, as in base sync. The profit will be easy as idle for M and A. Cons will be fewer features than full connects. Security tips is agility is greater, or and complexity might be bigger compared to this thing. So this thing is really good because complexity might be smaller compared to agility, but you have to take it. Everything is essential for the exam, so that a lot of topic will be covered, so just take it in that way. So access management, authentication layer. So the first layer, identity without authorization equals to name tag, and the authorization defines what you can do. So what you can do is like the right authorization. So you are assigned for it, and that will be it. So built-in versus common role. So built-in is predefined, easier to audit. Costume is prescribed but harder to manage. Best practices start within built-ins. Must know built-in roles. So the must know built-in roles will be global admin equals to full control, use sparingly, or privileged role admin is about manage PIM. Security admins is CA, MFA, and identity protection. It's user admin and help desk admin. So it's privileged identity management PIM. So problem might be standing access, which will be regs. Solution might be eligible roles, activate when needed. Security tips, so JIT access shrinks surface attacks. How PIM works, so eligible role will be requests activation, and then there will be multi-factor approval request, and it will be like time limited and auto provoked. So from the hackers inside it, no standing privilege. So this be insightful about those kind of things to secure your business. PIM access review. So validate if the user still need access. Reviewer self-manage and designated outcomes. Auto remove scale and auto remove still access. So the privilege identity management review is about reviewer will be self-managed and designated, and the outcomes is like auto removed stale access. So this is all about privilege identity management. So it's a huge topic. It is covered in this segment a lot, so just go through it. And if you go through the Microsoft lawn and if you open the Azure portal, it's like you'll understand it more briefly, but here you'll understand it from different perspective. So I'm not like willing to explain you from normal or native perspective. I will be teaching you from different perspective because there are a lot of resources which is available. Those are normal. So moving on to the next slide, it's about delegated versus application permission. Delegated app act as user, application is about app act independently here, and RICS is app only cause to broad access. Admin required consent or admin consent required. So you had to go for exam tips. So consent framework. Consent framework is another topic covered over here. So user consent will be at low risks and self-approved. Admin consent will be high risks and tenant-wide. Security tips will be disable user consent if not needed. So in case of needed only, you have to turn it on. So as I have mentioned, user will have low risks and self-approved. Admin will have high risks and tenant-wide. External identity, B2B, B2B is like business to business. Invite partners as a guest user, authentication via their own provider, no passport to manage, use case partner collaboration. Another one will be external identities. It's going to be business to customer, customer facing identity platform. Separate tenant from corporate. Use case, it's going to be app and portal. Exam tips, it's going to be B2B cost to partner, B2C cost to customers. They are all categorized as stakeholders. Access review and group app. So first one is about you gotta review the security groups or app access. It's going to be auto remove stale access, and compliance tips equals to access review is about review the audit, and you have to be very sharp about the reviews, because if there is any problem and if we are not alerted automatically, the one thing we are going to know those kind of thing is from the reviews and logs. So that's why. So entitlement management, when we talk about bundle access in entitlement management, it's about group, team and apps. So the workflow equals to, first we are going to request, and then so we are looking for approval. Once we grant the access, we will, it might be expired. So entitlement management, it's something like that. So use case will be secure onboarding. Identity protection, risk detection. So risky user, because to risky sign in and leak credentials. AI based detection, so impossible travel and anonymous IP. Security tips early warning radar. So when we get the warning on the radar, so just be very careful, try to mitigate it, or if there is SOAR or SIM, so there will be SOAR and SIM of Microsoft too. So you have to be very good about all those things. Risk-based policy, so user risk is about forced passport reset. So sign-in risk might be require MFA or block configured in identity protection blade. Exam ticks is conditional access versus risk policy distinctions. So you have to know these things. So secure score and security dashboard. So numerical score based on practice. Use it as a checklist to improve posture. Exam tips will be secure score recommendation, shows up in the questions. Governance tools recap. So PIM equals to just-in-time admin access. Access review equals to validate ongoing access. Entitlement management is about lifecycle automation. Security tips is about governance equals to breach prevention. Exam strategy and study tips, always choose secure over convenient. Memorize conditional access scenario, might be multi-factor authentication, legacy authentication, and admin. Use PHS versus PTA versus federation. So just know how to what are the difference in this kind of login. Review security score and identity protection policy. Your questions, scenario, and clarification. Remember, you on the first 30% of AZ-500 after this. So these slides are general review of the context, what is what. And I'm pretty sure if you just listen to this slide and if you go through the Microsoft lawn, I'm 100% sure you'll get a lot of things because I have tried to explain it from different perspective by giving a different kind of example and explanation. So that's it. Thank you so much for being here and have a nice day.